Myself Padmaja, Associate Professor, Department of CSE, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Python. Now, today's topic is on classes and objects. Now, in Python, how to create a class and how to define a class and how to create the objects of the class. Now, before learning about the classes and object concept, let us learn about the features of Python. First of all, Python is a multi-paradigm programming language. Now, in any object-oriented language, a class can be defined as a template or blueprint that describes the behavior or state of the objects. Now, what do you mean by it? So, in object-oriented terminology, every class provides the means of bundling the data and functionalities together. Now, an object is simply a collection of data and methods that act on those data. So, for those objects, class is just a blueprint or template. So, you can create n number of objects for a particular class, and an object is also known as an instance of the class, and the process of creating objects is also known as instantiation. To create a class in Python, we use the keyword class. Now, every object has two important characteristics. One is called the attributes and the behavior. For example, if you take bird as a class, then parrot is one of the object, pigeon is one of the object, and every bird or every instance of the bird like parrot or pigeon has the important properties. So what are the properties or attributes? That every bird will have a name, age, color. These are the attributes or fields or variables. And bird can sing or dance. So singing, dancing are known as the behaviors. So every object shows these two characteristics, that is attributes and behavior. Now, the concept of object-oriented programming in Python focuses on the principle of creating reusable code. And this concept is also known as write, don't repeat yourself. That means you write the code once and you can reusable multiple times. So here, using the object-oriented concept, we can define a class, and by creating various objects of the class, we can do multiple tasks together. Now, let us understand what is the class and object concept through this example. For example, your name of the class is a circle. Name of the class is a circle. Then your variable is your radius. Radius is a variable, and the methods are, we can create the methods like get area, get parameter, get radius, and so on. So it's a combination of, it's a collection of your data. Every object will have these methods and variables together. So which will act on those data also. Let us see how. See, for this circle class, we can create n number of objects. For example, we are creating the object 1 for circle class. So the object 1, by taking radius value equal to 1, you can compute the area, parameter, and so on. Similarly, for object 2, we can take different radius value like 25, and we can also calculate the area, perimeter, and so on. Similarly, for the third object, we can take different radius value and we can apply on those methods, and we can compute the area and parameters. So from this example, it is very clear that the class acts as just a template or blueprint, and you can create various instances of the class or various objects of the class, and you can use those same variables and methods. Now, let us see through this example in Python how to create a class and how to create the objects. Now, before going for class creation, let us see the syntax. So, class followed by class name. This class name again follows the rules of identifier. So, class is a reserved word or keyword followed by you to give a class name. Then you can write down multiple statements where you can define some variables and you can write down the methods of the class. So, you can see here one example. Class is animal. Animal is the class. And you have written a pass statement. So here pass statement is just a placeholder, which means it has nothing to do. This class has nothing to do, but it acts as a placeholder over here. Now, for this class, animal is a class. For this class, we have created two objects. Goat is an object and cow is another object. So if you will print these two objects, you will see that these two objects have been created in memory and what is the memory location you can identify here. So you can see that this animal object, your goat is the animal object which has been created at so and so location, and similarly cow is also an animal object which has been created at so and so location. So this is a simple example where we have seen how to create a class and how to define a class and how to create multiple objects of the same class. Now, to better understand the object-oriented concepts in Python, we have to first understand these 4 important topics. We have to understand how to define a class, how to create the objects, so class concept, then object concept, then init method, which is nothing but a constructor, and followed by self-variable. So let us understand one by one concept, and then by putting all this together, we can write a better program. Now, first of all, we should know what is an init method in Python. So init method is a reserve method in Python. So it is also known as a constructor in object-oriented terminology. So in different languages, your different constructors are available. In Python, init method is the constructor. And this method is called when an object is created from a class and it allows the class to initialize the attributes of the class. So we'll see through some examples how to use the init method later. Now let us talk about what is self-variable in Python. Now the self-variable is used to bind the instance of the class to the instance method. So how it will do the binding? So for that we have to explicitly write self as the first argument in the methods. So self is written or declared as the first argument to access the instance variables and methods. So this variable is used only with the instance methods. But in Python, self variable is not a reserved word, but it is just a best practice and convention to use the variable name as self to refer to the instances, and it is always used as the first argument. Now let us understand how to use this init method, the constructor and the self variable in the examples. Now, let us see this example where we are defining a class first. The name of the class is bird. So, in the bird class, we have one constructor, that is the init method, and we have one your instance method. So, in the init method, the first argument is self, and other than that, we are passing one user-defined argument, what is the bird type. So, this is the first argument. Default argument is self, followed by one more argument we are passing, that is the type of the bird. Then this self variable is doing the binding task, that is self.bird type is equal to bird type. That means whatever the bird type we are passing, suppose while creating the object we are passing the bird type as parrot. So this bird type will be your binded with the instance methods. So then we have defined our own method that is called sing, and self is the default argument. So there is a print statement that so and so bird can sing. So this bird type will be the argument which you have passed is now binded with this instance method, and based on that you can access the bird type and we can write down the statement as this particular bird type can sing. So what is the bird type? Here parrot is the bird type. So we'll get the output parrot can sing. Next we'll go for another example where the name of the class is person. Now in this person class, so your default constructor is init here. Now we are passing the self with the default argument, we are passing the name of the person. So it will be the name of the person, that is the argument which you are passing will be binded with the instance method. So self.name is equal to name you have to write. After that we are writing our own sample method, say hi. Say hi is our sample method, and we are using a print statement in the method that hello, my name is so and so. So whatever name you will pass as the argument, that name will be accessed over here. Now let us see how. So for the person class, we have created 3 different objects. Your P1, P2 and P3 are the 3 different objects. For this object, we are passing 3 different names. For P1, we are passing Arun. For P2, we are passing Atul. For P3, we are passing Ansu. So for every name is, whenever you will call this method, say hi method, the name will be binded with the instance method, and you can see that the output is hello, my name is Arun. Hello, my name is Atul. and so on. Whenever you will call this method, say hi method, object name dot method name you have to write. Now through the objects you can call the instance methods, and you can see how these names are passed and it is binded in the instance method. Now let us see another example. So here the task of constructor is to initialize or assign the values to the data members of the class when the object of the class is created. That is the main purpose of the constructor, that is the init method. Now here you can see that there is a class called student. Now in the constructor init we have not passed anything. So we are directly taking the values self.roll number is equal to 101, self.name equal to Krishna, self.branch is equal to CSC. So instead of passing the arguments, we can directly take the values. Now these values we are writing our own sample method, that is print info method. In this print info method, we are displaying the value of name, roll number and branch. As the values are already binded due to the self argument, so you can just display the methods using the print statement. Now let us create one object and let us see how to print it. So here S is a student object. Now we are not passing anything. So we can write s.printinfo whenever you will do. That means this print info method, we are invoking the method through the object. Okay. So whenever you are invoking the method, then you will get this print statement, name, roll number and branch, that is your 101, Krishna and CSE will be printed. This is one way of invoking the methods through the object name dot method name. Second way is, instead of invoking, we can directly, second approach is, without writing the print info method, we can directly write down s.name, s.roll number and s.branch. So S is the object name. So object name dot attribute name or variable name, directly we can write and we will get the same output. So these are the two different ways of using or displaying the values. So you can either write print info method and you can access it. You can invoke that method using the object name dot print info, s dot print info. Otherwise, directly also you can invoke those attributes or you can use those attributes through the object name. So object name s dot roll number and s dot branch, you can directly write and you can access those variables. So thank you so much. In this video, we have seen the introduction to classes and object concept. We have seen how to define a class and how to create the objects of the class. We have also known about the constructor, that is the init method, and the self variable in Python. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.